Have you all used ChatGPT for health advice?
Since I have MS, it's really important for me to consider energy conservation throughout my day. So it's given me some good ideas for that.
Stop working with Andrew. He is a pain in the ass. Welcome to Millennial, the home of pretend adulting and real talk. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Pamela.
Did anyone else have to explain internet memes to their parents as a result of a political assassination in the last week? Because I did.
Thankfully not, but that feels like it would be very exhausting.
It's also just like, I can't, and I've never played Helldivers, but like Helldivers, the game was part of this apparently, and I was just like, oh my God, this is just...
Because then you have to get into the lore, because they're like, they can't just like take it as fact. Like, why is this funny? You have to be like, you see.
They'll never understand it.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
It's like the Pepe meme, kind of, which has been like, like adopted by the alt-right.
Yeah, so. and you're also like, it's like they think it's funny. It's not at all. But like, it was just... It was the combination of events that I didn't have it on my bingo card. But then again, I didn't think, honestly, I thought RFK was going to be on the chopping block before Kash Patel was on the chopping block in terms of Trump's cabinet. So, you get surprised every day.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of having to explain things to your parents, the amount of misinformation that was running around and still is running around following the assassination of Charlie Kirk is shocking. And we're going to talk more about this in After Dark today, including how the people in our lives, specifically on Facebook, are responding to this news. And a lot of people seem to be coming out of the woodwork, which actually kind of reminds me of when there was that assassination attempt on Trump last year. We're going to talk about those types of elements in After Dark since it's more gossipy. But when shocking news like this and horrific things happen like this, the amount of information that flies around and everybody just quickly believes it all. They'll believe the last thing they saw. And it's been a big issue for both the right and left, because how are we going to debate this and debate shootings and debate political motivations, all that, if we can't even have our facts straight? And everybody just wants to collect their set of facts that align with their beliefs and values and argue from that standpoint.
And that's the unfortunate byproduct of instant news in the age of social media, right? Because before you had to kind of wait until news was coming out. And so reporters had nothing to do but check their facts up through whenever publishing time was for these physical papers, or up until whenever the news was set to air. So it's unfortunate, but it is something that, it begs repeating that anytime something big happens, a big piece of news that affects, the entire country, it's best not to instantly believe what you read online and to kind of slow your roll and see if you can wait at least a day to piece together what gets retracted and what doesn't, and what seems to be true and what doesn't. And sometimes even waiting a day isn't enough, honestly. Sometimes it takes it takes way longer for these official organizations to conduct investigations. So
also, you don't have to share an opinion. I barely want to share an opinion on this podcast, not about this particular story, but not everybody has to get in on the conversation. You can just let things go and let other people debate.
Well, I mean, I'm a big proponent of the First Amendment. So I think if you want to say something, you can and you should. But I think where we get into trouble is when we can't shift our opinions in light of new information. People have this problem with doubling down and accepting that, hey, maybe we got new information that sheds different light on this thing. And as a result, my opinion may need to shift. At the end of the day, I think I can speak for all of us when I say our opinion as a show is that we're anti-gun violence, period.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
And this was another example of a very big problem that we have in this country. that hurts all kinds of people.
What's been really bothering me over the last week is that the right, has rolled out the red carpet for, paying tribute to Charlie Kirk, going all the way up to the president. Back in June, the Minnesota House Speaker, Melissa Hortman, and her husband were assassinated in their home. Trump didn't call the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. He didn't go to her funeral. He didn't lower flags to half staff when she was killed. And now we're doing...
And it was requested, too. That's the important part to remember here. They asked if he would, and he said no.
And just the other day, Trump was asked about Melissa Hortman, and he goes, who? I mean, it's disgusting how the right is so up in arms over Charlie Kirk when they weren't for Melissa Hortman. Was Charlie Kirk's assassination horrific? Yes, 100%. The same attention should have been given to Melissa Hortman, if not more for Melissa Hortman, because she was an elected official. So that's been really bothering me this week. And
just the lack of national attention on another school shooting. I know that it's easy to get desensitized, but it's unfortunate that that was kind of swept aside as well.
Yeah, it happened the same day, right?
Yeah.
Like we said, we'll talk about this more in After Dark this week, specifically how we've been seeing our former friends react to the news on Facebook, because I've been seeing some crazy shit on social media. I don't know about y'all.
I can't wait to hear about
I've
this.
unfollowed at least one person. I probably should have unfollowed more.
Wow.
And by unfollowed, I mean unfriended.
Juicy.
But did you also see Trump attended the 9/11 memorial, and then these pictures came out of him watching some part of the service with Melania, and half of his face was drooping, and people are like, what the hell is going on this week? We don't know what happened to him. There was speculation he may have had a stroke. That seems like a very extreme assumption, but I'm not a doctor, but I saw on social media, people were saying maybe he has Bell's palsy, and that's this temporary loss of controlling your facial muscles. So Dr. Andrew believes that may be what was going on, because it was just temporary. And I'm thinking he went out there and he was fine. His people didn't notice any issue. And then when he gets out there, he starts suffering from Bell's palsy. And then, they can't pull him off the stage. It's a 9/11 memorial. So they just had to roll with it.
Either way, he looks rough.
We're watching him deteriorate in real time. And honestly,
it's just irony, right? Because he spent half of his platform was talking about how Sleepy Joe couldn't get the job done because he was too old.
Oh, not just that, but insulting the appearance of women time and time again. And so now he's in the public eye with some very real issues, the blackened hand, like he's Dumbledore, and this Bell's palsy, maybe. You know what? I say this is karma coming around.
He's just not going to take as much shit for that as women do.
Mm-hmm. But we can give him shit for it.
Yeah, I mean, we will.
Of course.
Of course.
Also, a little bit of real talk. Y'all know LimeWire still exists? Yes, this is a hard pivot I'm making right now.
No way.
Trump
as like a streaming platform, like a music streaming platform. Like, what do they do?
They're no longer a streaming music platform. That didn't go so well for them when they were illegally distributing music. But LimeWire today announced that they are buying, wait for it, Fyre Festival. That festival that was infamous. Infamously
not Fyre
bad.
Festival.
Yes. So there was this mysterious buyer of Fyre Festival a few weeks ago for $245,000. And LimeWire announced today that they're the buyers. This is such a weird pairing. So you might be asking, is LimeWire going to bring back Fyre Festival? And I have bad news for everybody. No. The company said it would unveil a reimagined vision for Fyre, one that expands beyond the digital realm and taps into real-world experiences, community, and surprise. While the details are still under wraps, expect the unexpected. This is one of the stupidest headlines I've read in 2025.
It's just weird that they wanted to buy a pre-existing brand that has become the butt of a joke instead of just like building something from scratch.
Which is basically, LimeWire's turned into a joke. It's irrelevant. LimeWire actually returned in 2022 after kind of like being sunsetted, it was relaunched as a crypto marketplace. This is all the makings of another disaster, whatever the hell is going to go on with LimeWire and Fire Festival.
Okay, with that context in mind, it actually makes perfect sense that they bought Fire Festival.
How's your crypto doing, Laura? Aren't you a crypto investor?
I mean, not really. I bought Dogecoin back in the day, but I haven't really kept up with it. I sold it.
Yeah. Oh, you sold it all?
I finally did sell it because it felt like the Elon of it all, because like he was the one really promoting Dogecoin, and I eventually was just like, I can't.
I think that's smart. Just get out before he digs himself into an even bigger hole.
Yeah.
You did make a little money off of it, right?
I did, yeah.
How much, if you don't mind sharing?
So I initially bought $100 worth of Dogecoin, and don't laugh at me.
That's really sad. But go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway,
she did it for the show.
I did do it for the show.
Oh, I apologize. I forgot.
I did do it for the show, and I'll have you know, I ended up selling my shares for $1,000. So I made $900 off Dogecoin.
That's great.
Yeah.
You committed to the bit and it paid off.
You can buy a couple passes to the next Fire Festival sponsored by LimeWire.
I donated it because I felt guilty. Because of the Elon of it all. I was like, ugh. It just made me feel icky.
What did you end up donating it to?
Planned Parenthood and the Trevor Project.
Oh, love that. That's nice.
That's sweet. Well, any listeners who don't support us on Patreon, if you make some money off of Dogecoin, please do consider, give it to actual charity. But we do want to tell you that this show is brought to you by listeners like you. So if you are able to, we would really appreciate if you visited patreon.com/millennial to support the show for as little as $5 a month. And you can get instant access to perks like After Dark. You'll also get access to ad-free episodes of the show, our live streams, a monthly Zoom hangout with the three of us, and a lot more.
Visit patreon.com/millennial and get started today with a 7-day free trial to check out all of our bonus content, including After Dark. And if you sign up for an annual subscription, you'll get 15% off your membership, which equals 2 months free. We love free stuff.
Other ways to support us include visiting shop.millennialshow.com, which is where you can pick up official show gear. You can also tell a fellow millennial about the show, and also make sure you're following us in your favorite podcast app.
Coming up, one of the biggest AI companies has had to settle with authors because they were stealing the author's work. We'll talk about that after this break. We'll be right back.
All right, so it's been a while since we checked in on AI, and even longer probably since we talked about a lot of these court cases that started sprouting up towards the beginning of when AI started becoming more of a household situation. And there is a pretty big development on this front. The company Anthropic has actually agreed to pay out $1.5 billion to settle a lawsuit with book authors and publishers. And this comes after a judge ruled that it had illegally downloaded and stored millions of copyrighted books. Anthropic is the company behind Claude, which is one of the world's most popular AI chatbots, probably up there with ChatGPT. So that kind of gives you a feel for how big of a deal this is. And the settlement actually comes as a result of a U.S. District Court judge ruling in June that the company's use of legally acquired books to train its AI was fair. But where they kind of got caught up is the fact that they had also used online libraries like Library Genesis and Pirate Library Mirror to download millions of other books in order to use them to train their AI. And so here was where the judge ruled that executives knew these libraries contained pirated books and then ended up using them to train their bots anyway. And basically, they would have ended up owing a lot more money per title if they hadn't settled. And so after the judge said this, Anthropic decided to reach a settlement with the authors and the publishers that were part of this lawsuit. And as part of this, they will be paying out about $3,000 per work to 500,000 authors that were part of the settlement. This marks the largest payout in the history of U.S. copyright cases. So again, this is a really big deal. And experts are actually calling this the AI industry's Napster moment. So people are definitely looking to this and trying to figure out what this means for AI companies, and also the number of lawsuits that are active currently against AI companies around the country. There's about 40 right now. So anytime, something like this happens, it does set a precedent in court, and we'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, that's the big update. Big win for the authors.
Is it $3,000? I mean, it's setting an example. You can't take our work and use it to train your language models. But I was trying to think, like, what could Anthropic do with all these books in their databases?
Let's just say you want to be an author. You can say, like, help me write a story about XYZ. And then Anthropic or Claude, say, can basically use its database that they've compiled by scraping all of this work to write a story for you that you then didn't write, that then you could technically profit off of. But it's really just piecing together from all this other work sometimes. So it gets dicey because like technically you don't even own the work.
Right.
Right. I'm also just thinking about $3,000 per author. I mean, this is definitely a win here.
Well, it's per work.
Per work. Okay.
Yeah, to 500,000 authors. So it depends on how many of their books got scraped for the use of training its AI. So let's just say you have like 40 books. It would be 40 times 3,000 that you would get.
What is it, Pam? Quick.
I don't know, Andrew.
120. 120. Yeah,
Do we know who some of the authors are?
I know one, and it's actually our friend Jen, who has been on. Yeah, What the Hype. I'm sure she would be fine with me saying that. So
nice.
Yeah.
What's she doing with her $3,000? Going on vacation?
I hope so. She deserves it.
Yeah.
I don't know how many books of hers that have popped up. I mean, like that would be. I think that would be like going too far to divest that information. But yeah.
I do wonder what kind of precedent this could set for other AI models. Like we've heard probably one of the earliest kind of like class action-y type complaints that we heard about was from artists around AI and how AI just scrapes the web for digital art in order to generate all of these beautiful images that we can create in ChatGPT now. And I do wonder, with something like artwork, will there be a time where it can actually reasonably be determined that something was lifted in that way? I mean, I have to think if they were able to determine that Claude had these specific works training its model, I would think that you could prove something similar about artwork. No?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily like traditional art, but I would remind you both that Getty is actually suing ChatGPT or was. We talked about that kind of at the beginning of our coverage on AI and ChatGPT. So they're suing for like them using their database, which is all copyrighted, and technically for Getty images, you do actually have to pay a licensing fee to use them. So
I have seen that a problem recently on marketplaces like Amazon is that people are just generating quote unquote books with AI and then self-publishing them on Amazon, ebook versions primarily. This actually happened last week with the death of Charlie Kirk. A book was published within like 24 hours on the death of Charlie Kirk. And it's pretty easy to self-publish on Amazon. Like I made this Patreon course a couple years ago, turned it into an ebook version, self-published it myself. It's a pretty damn easy process. And I think Amazon has been playing whack-a-mole with these books because it's also hard to figure out what's AI generated and what's not on there. And I'm sure Claude could have been, if not still is, assisting people with this type of strategy where you just flood the zone with these AI books about hot topics.
Sometimes it is just like, I mean, style is a big thing too, but like if you're a writer, but in any capacity, you kind of like know your own work well enough to to spot it when you see it. I've been plagiarized from. It's not fun. It feels really violating because it's something that like I spent time working on, and it's not fair that then this person is trying to pass it off as their own work and won't take it down when you ask. And sometimes you have to escalate it further, and that really sucks. So, yeah, it's just really debilitating. And I can't imagine what it must be like for somebody whose literal job it is to write books, because it does like take the wind out of your sails a little bit. And I can see how that, it could cause writer's block or discourage you, because then like, it's like, what's the point if somebody else is just going to get credit for like my stuff?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It kind of adds a whole new dimension to the concept, Pam, that you and I chatted about on our other podcast with the hype about filing the serial numbers off of work to get like fan fiction published as original fiction that is clearly based off of and inspired by other works. Like, this takes that to a whole new level. And I feel like it has to be a lot harder to prove that somebody's done that.
And in relation to that, there was I believe there was an incident. I think I read about it on The Verge that somebody had scraped a good chunk of Archive of Our Own to train an AI bot. And that gets even dicier than something that is traditionally published, because fan fiction is allowed to exist because it's free. But then if you're using it to train your bot and somebody is then using it to write a book that then they're making money off of, that's where it kind of becomes a huge gray area. So yeah, there's a lot of layers to this, to your point.
Yeah. If I were an artist, I would be terrified, because it's just so easy to generate art. And I'm very proud to say we have not done that for anything professional that we create. Like, we would never do it for album art or promotional artwork, stuff like that.
Because it would be so easy to just be like make me album art in the style of this person's art. And then AI is just going to spit it out in, a minute.
Yeah. And some studios like Disney and Warner Brothers, I believe, have started cracking down, suing Anthropic or these other AI companies, because they don't want their brands to be used in AI. I think they're like, Warner Brothers is fighting one of these AI companies about Superman. They don't want Superman being generated in an AI. They're trying to protect all of their brands too.
Yeah.
I do kind of think it's funny though, because I think these studios will use AI. Like,
that's why part of the strike happened.
Right.
Because they were trying to avoid, AI use and not getting
Didn't Marvel use AI to make the opening credits for Secret Invasion?
Well, I guess when they do it themselves, it's okay. Yeah, I do remember that, Laura. I don't know if it was Secret Invasion or what, but it was one of their shows within the last year. Yeah. But the story I was trying to remember off the top of my head, Warner Brothers sued AI photo generator Midjourney for stealing Superman, Scooby-Doo, Bugs Bunny, and some others. So yeah, these studios are fighting back, as they should. Our government is not trying to get AI under control right now, which is disturbing. It's kind of the Wild West. So private companies are going to have to put a kibosh to how these AI companies are behaving.
Yeah, I think the scary thing about it is, like, the train has already left the station when it comes to AI, and we kind of missed the boat on having any kind of meaningful regulations in place. I don't think we can ever catch up, because the whole point of AI is that it is constantly iterating and it's constantly getting better. So I don't know. I don't know that there's anything that anyone can do to stop these kinds of problems from cropping up. Yeah. I think it's kind of like, it's going to be like playing whack-a-mole, I think.
Yeah. I have relatives that are like, I'll just ask ChatGPT. Like, it's become like a normal thing.
And it's a search engine.
Yeah, actually it's really funny, because recently we have, I feel like everybody in their family has one person that's like in like the genealogist that wants to do the big family tree.
That's my mom.
So for me, it's my aunt. Shout out to Aunt Val. And so she was trying to get information about my grandma and her mom. And we had my great grandma's birth certificate, but she doesn't speak Spanish. So she needed to have it translated. And my aunt speaks better Spanish than I do. But then I told my mom, I said, have her send a copy over because I want to make sure that she like wrote it out right. I just kind of had like a funny feeling about it. And I get it back and I'm like, this is like, none of this is in the birth certificate. Like, this is all fake.
Dun,
like,
dun,
a lot of this is fake. And I was like, I bet you they just took a picture and said, translate this on ChatGPT because like there's so much here that's wrong. And even like, though a lot of it is like, it was like legal vernacular that I didn't understand. It's like written in a way that's like old, but also legalese. I was like, this, I can still tell that this is inaccurate. So then I was like, tell them not to send it. Like they're just being lazy instead of doing things the right way. They're like, I'll just ask ChatGPT.
And that's the thing. AIs will be confidently wrong. I think we have to remember that and I use ChatGPT a lot. I use it multiple times a week for different tasks, makes my life easier, cuts down on the amount of time that I'm having to sit down and write stuff out. If I need a particular list for something, it's a great tool for stuff like that. However, you still have to read what it gives you and make sure that what it's giving you is correct and that it's accurately interpreting your request. I think that's the step a lot of people miss. And I think that's also where some of the fear mongering can come from too, is because people don't understand how to use it as a tool. People think it's like magic.
Right, they're putting too much faith in the face value of it.
Because they make it feel so easy that you can ask it anything, and it does so effortlessly answer for you with no ads in the way, barely any delay. You don't have to search the web page for the answer you were looking for. I could see why people start to trust it a lot and they don't realize that it's just not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. You should just get, at this point, if you're going to use it, if you're hell bent on using, you should consider it like an assistant, I think. That's, but definitely not something that should be doing everything for you.
I took a vacation over Labor Day and I was shocked by how many people I was seeing consulting with ChatGPT, mainly on the flights to and from my destination. The one person to my 2:00 in the row in front of me, he was consulting ChatGPT about some sharp pain around his eyebrow. I'm like, bro, ChatGPT is not your doctor. And then he was asking, I'm the creep who's like following the conversation. I'm just fascinated. I love seeing how people use their phones. So I was following this conversation he was having with ChatGPT, and he asked ChatGPT to generate sort of like this medical report that then he put it over into his Apple Notes app for reviewing with his doctor later. Like, it's amazing. ChatGPT is Google now for so many people. That is the way they get answers now.
Poor
and I don't blame them because of how easy.
Ousted.
What?
No, I said poor WebMD is getting ousted.
Oh yeah, I know.
Now it's ChatGPT that's going to tell you that you're probably dying.
Have you all used ChatGPT for health advice? I don't think I have yet.
I haven't, but I have used it to help me set up an exercise regimen that I could easily follow.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I actually used it to help me come up with, to kind of help me figure out how to factor in like energy saving strategies into my daily and weekly routine. Since I have MS, it's really important for me to consider energy conservation throughout my day so that, I can work all day and then still have the energy to get on and podcast in the evenings. So it's given me some good ideas for that.
Stop working with Andrew. He is a pain in the ass. That will save much energy.
Well, you want to know something interesting? I just asked ChatGPT. I just told it. I said, give me a list of reasons not to trust you. And it did.
Please.
It gave me like a list of 12 different reasons why I shouldn't trust it, along with mitigation strategies for how to deal with those reasons.
Good. Aww.
So
Interesting.
It's saying things like it will hallucinate facts. It literally has
a humble
that.
AI.
I can hallucinate facts. It says my knowledge has limits and staleness. I can be imprecise unless I show my work. I can reflect biases in training data. I'm not a licensed professional, and it goes on and on and on. So even the AI, I guess, has been to therapy. ChatGPT has I think it has more self-awareness than some people.
That wow. I agree with for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would just treat ChatGPT right now like Wikipedia. Check the sources, and it will give you the sources, which is extremely helpful. If it didn't have that, I don't think I would trust it at all or give it a chance to be trusted. On a related note about books, I saw this report. I wanted to ask you two if you are part of this statistic. Fewer people are reading for fun, a study recently found. Researchers from University College London and the University of Florida examined national data from 2003 to 2023, so it's a span of 20 years, and found the share of people who reported reading for pleasure on a given day fell to 16% in 2023 from a peak of 28% in 2004, a drop of about 40%. It declined about 3% each year over those 2 decades. So I would say one major change in our day-to-day lives over the last 2 decades is the rise of smartphones. It's just easier to load up TikTok or Instagram and get some pleasure out of that compared to a book. And I've been there with a book. Like I sit down to read a book and I'll start it. And then that little voice in my brain, that little devil goes, TikTok, Instagram. And I put the book down and I start swiping. Or I lay in bed at night. I'm like, all right, TikTok for 5 minutes. Then it's time to read my book. And then it's 45 minutes I'm spending on TikTok and I'm ready to go to bed. But I really do still try to read for pleasure. And I'm realizing recently that an ebook just doesn't do it for me like a physical book does. I went to Barnes & Noble last week. I love being in Barnes & Noble or any bookstore. I get inspired to read. I bought 2 books and I just love the physical reading experience, holding the book, smelling the book, flipping the pages, quickly being able to flip back to check something. It's just so much better. And I have the Kindle and I love using Libby, but I'm realizing that in order to maintain my interest in reading for fun, I think I need to stick with physical books. But how about you two? Do you feel like you still read for pleasure as much as you once did, or what's your relationship with reading for fun?
Not as much, because sometimes it's like you have to decide what you want to do. Even if you have like any other kind of hobby, you know, like I'm still trying to get better at sewing. So it's like, if I only have a certain number of hours left in the day, it's like, do I want to work on my sewing project or do I want to read? So like, sometimes that means that, you know, I can do both if I put on an audiobook, but you're right. I do kind of miss like the tangible aspect of reading, just like holding something in my hand. But it's sometimes it's hard to do that if you're trying to like spread your time out evenly.
Yeah, it feels like that's where audiobooks can be a real win, because you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But no, I agree with you. And I'll admit here, I really have not read for pleasure as much in recent years. It can feel really hard to find the time, to Pam's point. I mean, life is so busy, and that's not an excuse for it. You have to be really intentional about carving out the time to do that. And that's something I'm trying to be better at, but I can't say that I've been too successful.
Yeah. For me, and this is like I'll just like re-rec this as a bonus recommendation, using something like Storygraph or even Goodreads to set a reading goal at the beginning of the year, even if it's like 3 books, you know, is really helpful, because then at least it's like an app that you swipe past while you're on your phone. And then you might think to yourself like, oh yeah, maybe I should like read a little something today. So that definitely helps me. I try and set a reading goal every year, and I try to hit it, but I try to make it something that is attainable. And I also try not to put too much pressure on actually hitting it. Like, it's okay if I don't make it, but it's the it's the goal.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Pam. One reason I've really liked board and card games over the last couple of years is you truly you're not looking at a screen. And I try to keep that in mind with books as well. It's so nice to just not have to look at a screen. And I'm starting to consider Kindles a screen, even though it's just a ebook reader. Ebooks or Kindles are great for traveling. It saves a lot of weight in your backpack. But other than that, I think I need to just stick with physical books. Do you two ever get inspired to read for fun? Like through book talk or, I don't know, just recommendations from friends? And when that happens, does it actually motivate you to read for fun?
Yeah, I'll say my recommendation this week is a book that was recommended to me by one of our listeners. So, there's a tease.
Okay.
What will it be?
Ooh, you were influenced.
Yeah. What genre will it be? Huh?
Mhm.
Like you can probably take a solid guess there. But yeah, I mean, that stuff really motivates me. I think getting personalized recommendations from people that I know who kind of know the things that I'm into, that holds a lot of weight for me. So I am more likely to go pick up a book if somebody who I know personally recommended it, especially if I know that like they themselves are a reader and they kind of have their finger on the pulse of what I would enjoy. That'll help. So maybe I can increase my book reading by having our listeners continue to give me recommendations, and then
or maybe
I'll
if
read
anybody's
more.
looking for more inspiration to read for fun, maybe you should go and ask your friends, are there any books recently that you would consider? I've seen this trend on TikTok recently, a 6-star read. If y'all heard of this, you can figure it out probably what it means. It's perfection, absolute perfection. And obviously you don't award a 6-star read honor to any book. You got to do it few and far between, so they really count. But I really like that. Like basically what you're saying is you can't miss this book if you're telling a friend about a 6-star read.
Or you can just get inspired sometimes by what you're watching. Like a lot of stuff gets adapted, obviously, for the big and small screen. So like, a lot of people are into The Summer I Turned Pretty now on Prime. It's about to wrap up. Maybe you want to go check out the book series, which is a trilogy.
I was inspired to read Daisy Jones and the Six after watching the Amazon TV show. And I'm glad I did.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was great. I love how it was laid out. It was actually laid out like a documentary in the book, just like the TV show was. I wasn't expecting
It's a quick read. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. How many books do you think both of you have read this year for fun or funish?
Is this the humble brag moment?
No. Oh, I wish.
Honestly, I think like 5. It's
I feel like that's
low.
Respectable.
That is, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
In 2025, I'd say so. How about you, Pam?
Well, I could tell you exactly how many books I've read, but I have to sign into my story graph because but it's been a while. I will say, like, I usually start off strong at the beginning of the year and then I taper off.
New year, new me. I'm gonna read a lot more this year.
But then also, like, there was a lot of stuff that came out this year, like the Hunger Games prequel and the new Fourth Wing novel. So anyway, I've not to humble brag, but I've read 13 books. But I will say that it's a mix of audio and physical. And also I've been trying to get through the Percy Jackson series, and those are just really easy to read because they're kids' books. It's like that
Still
goes way
that counts.
faster than I know, but I want to like be realistic here. I'm not reading like 12 Tolstoys. They're just very like leisurely reads.
I think I've read around 7 or 8 this year. I need to actually add it up. I haven't been. Yeah, I'm proud of that.
And you have your book club, right? Is that still going strong?
Well, the book club's going strong. We stopped going to it. I just didn't like the books that were being selected.
That does make a difference.
Yeah. So, and I just want to read on my own terms and want to read what I want to read. And I've got Book Talk. Book Talk feels like my book club. I'm picking up some recommendations through there.
Ooh, what's the last thing they wrecked for you over there?
Ooh, well, I guess I would say The Song of Achilles. But Kira Lewis kind of talked me into that one because she said it changed her chemically. And I had tried reading it a couple of times. And I was like, it just wasn't doing it for me. So then on my vacation I recently went on, when I wasn't staring at people's phones and their ChatGPT usage, I was reading Song of Achilles, and it was good. Some people, when I posted about it, were like, yeah, it is kind of slow. You got to stick with it. And yeah, I guess I was happy with it in the end. I'm glad I finally read it.
So it didn't change you chemically, though?
It did not change me chemically. No.
Wow.
I was looking forward to being changed chemically, and that did not happen.
That's a heavy book, though. It's, it gets heavy.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're all going to bring book recs to today's recommendations segment. But listeners, if you have any recommendations for us or any other feedback about today's episode, you can email millennialshow@gmail.com or use the contact form on millennialshow.com. You can also leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube or DM us on social. And if you enjoyed this podcast, we would appreciate a review in your favorite podcast app. Of course, you can also support us at patreon.com/millennial. Thank you very much, everybody. So time for those book recommendations. I will preface this by saying I just started reading this, but when I went to the bookstore a couple weeks ago, I picked up Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Have you two heard of Brené Brown?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I haven't read any of her books yet. I've been recommended this book a couple times to me now. So I was like, you know what? I'm finally going to do it. As the title might imply, Dare to Lead is about leadership and becoming a better leader. And not just in your work life, but also in your personal life. This is a bonus rec, I guess. Next on my list will be Frederick Bachman's My Friends. People have been shitting themselves on Book Talk about this.
I haven't read that one, but I have read other Frederick Bachman books before.
What's it about?
Yeah, there was that one. There's one where it's like a heisty book, and that's really good.
My Friends is a stunning testament to the transformative, timeless power of art and friendship. It's a story about a few friends. I don't honestly know too much about it. I just know people are loving this book. It's one of their favorite books of the year. So I'm going to get in on the action.
Anxious people.
People.
Yeah. A failed bank robber accidentally takes a group of strangers hostage at an open house apartment viewing.
I want to recommend this book, Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. So as soon as you heard that title, it's probably pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, it's true crime. This is a book that was actually recommended to me, like I said, by one of our listeners who coincidentally is also named Laura. So thank you so much, Laura, for the recommendation. I really did love this book. It's essentially a story that centers around a group of online true crime sleuths who actually end up becoming part of a true crime investigation. So they get in a little too deep, and it's a really, really compelling story. And it also is, I feel like it's a quick read because it's just one of those stories that just the story beats are so fast that it's a real page turner, and it's really hard to put it down once you pick it up. So I would definitely recommend that if you're a true crime girly like me.
And I wanted to recommend The Third Gilmore Girl, a memoir by Kelly Bishop, who plays the matriarch of the family, Emily Gilmore. Gilmore Girls is celebrating its 25th anniversary. So if you're looking to add more Gilmore Girls into your fall lineup, this is a perfect way to do it. Kelly Bishop has had an incredible career in Hollywood and also on Broadway. And she her life is so fascinating. So it's definitely worth a read. And she also, the section that's dedicated to Gilmore Girls is worth reading as well. The audiobook is really great too, if you want to experience it that way, because she reads it out loud, and she's just great at inflection. And then as a bonus, I would also recommend, after you read it, checking out the talk that she did with Lauren Graham, who plays Lorelai Gilmore on the show. They did this through 92NY. And it's just an hour of them talking about her memoir and being together on stage. And they're just the chemistry between the two of them is just so cute. So yeah, if you're looking for more Gilmore Girls in your life, this is a great place to get it.
Isn't Emily Gilmore the best Gilmore Girl?
She is. And I feel like the older I get, the more I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
All right. After Dark starts in a moment for patrons and Apple Podcast subscribers. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Pamela.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.